Doctors Without Borders is upgrading their scientific poster sessions to communicate more clearly, and our Science UX community helped them do it. Here's their original poster template. If you were walking by this at a Doctors Without Borders conference, the first thing you'd see would be like the logo, and then the title, and then the authors, and the intro, and the methods, and the detail. And here's our redesigned template. The first thing you see is a conclusion about the study. What did you learn? And then you kind of spend the rest of the poster defending that conclusion. Here's one of their example posters that we redesigned. So again, logo taking up the highest point in the visual hierarchy. This is a common mistake I see a lot of people doing with their scientific posters. The marketing team wants the logo to be the most prominent thing, but the logo is probably the least relevant to you actually learning the science. The big logo in the author list forces that title to be a smaller font. On our new template, the header is very big and uncluttered. Hits you with a takeaway statement right away. Portable solar-powered water treatment systems reduce diarrheal illness in Sudan. Then we have dedicated sections for quick background statement, key figures that have bigger area. So this graph is actually probably twice the size. And above each graph here, we have takeaways, like diarrhea cases decreased after we installed the water filter in November 2022, 85% bloody. Just tell them what the graph shows. This is best practice in data visualization. We're able to make each of the graphs in the method section a little bit bigger, but still leave some room for captions. And then we have an anti-takeaway, a limitations. And the limitation was they didn't do a follow-up survey on hygiene practices, which means they could have just improved their hygiene to reduce the diarrhea, and maybe the water filter did nothing. Unlikely, probably. I like that they said that, and so I pulled that out into a more prominent limitation. The entire poster is also organized in more of a Z pattern, so it's easier to just sort of scan along in big chunks and on somewhat of a consistent grid, which should make scanning easier. Move the authors to the bottom, give them space for a QR code and acknowledgements, and last, the logos, the least relevant thing to understanding the study, but still gives it that sort of thumbprint stamp at the bottom right. If you look across multiple posters, this new poster design should make it easy to go through a scientific poster session at a Doctors Without Borders conference and quickly learn from each poster and kind of dive in and understand the details really quick and efficiently. If you look at this new layout side by side with some other typical Doctors Without Borders posters, you can see it's kind of a conservative evolution of the existing design. It's not very radical. The heading's just a little more prominent, and the poster leans a little bit more towards data visualization and figures and pictures over text. I've learned working with conferences that usually sticking a little bit closer to the traditional design gets a lot more adoption. But I really hope to see people just blow this up completely and do their own thing. Like this poster over here on the right is actually doing a great job of making a really big image and having a kind of clear qualitative quote at the top. The template, it's really just meant to sort of move the anchor point a little bit towards best practices. I'm really kind of proud of this Doctors Without Borders project for a couple reasons. One, it's Doctors Without Borders, like they're doing so much good for the world, and us being able to help them improve the design of their scientific posters, I get to feel like a little bit like I'm helping them do that good for the world. And they're also really wonderful to work with. And this is kind of a win for the Science UX community because I didn't do this by myself. I had feedback from designers and other scientists in our Science UX Discord. I'm really grateful that the people in the Science UX community were able to help bring this template to life and improve it. And if you're a conference and you want to upgrade your poster template next year, and or you want to figure out how to measure the impact of your posters, we're working on both those things, so reach out. And if you're still with me at the end of this video and you really love this design for science kind of stuff, either from a scientist perspective or from a designer's perspective, and you want to get involved and help, the best way to do that is to go ahead and join the Science UX Discord. We also have a Reddit, so you can start there.